volunteers, you didn't volunteer.
Yeah, sounds great, sounds great. I do have to say, that's one of the best swing feels I've seen on the stage yet today. Just a legitimate, good, lanky, even from the time you got it, well, so that's, you know, it's not just what it looks like in this kind of business. It's the part of swing that's kind of jangly. And so it's hard for me to teach it to people, but you have it. So that's the thing. It's gallopy, it's swingy, it's kind of jangly. I don't know, you held on loosely to the tune, and that made the tune swing just as legitimately as Frank or you know, any of the classic people that swing this tune. Part of what made it work for you is that you didn't push it really hard. You didn't go, fly me to the moon, and you just let it fly me to the moon. It let it swing. So I'm kind of using Miles as a demonstration poster child for swing. The things he did right, he held on to tempo. I could see it in his whole body holding on to tempo. In a subtle way, but he was holding on to it, and it affected the way that you delivered the tune. It was great. Great job. Now, I've complimented you, now I'm going to tell you the one thing that I think we do need to talk about. The solo section. What did you mean to happen in this one? You scattered, and then were you sure, did you know what you wanted to have happen next?
So I took a chorus, and then...
Except that you didn't take a whole chorus. You took half. No, you took half. So let's talk about song form for a second. No, it's okay. It's okay. He wasn't signed up as a soloist, so give him a break. Let's talk about song form. It's an A-B-A-B form. In other words, there's no bridge in it, right? You know that. And Fly Me to the Moon and How High the Moon, these two moon tunes, they're tricky because the first half sounds a lot like the second half. So when you're scatting, you can sometimes, you know, be busy doing your stuff and then think, oh, am I in the first half or am I in the second half? And I don't know if you had that thought process or not, but you want to be listening for, play the last 8 bars of the form. 2, 3, and... Hear that one, then you know you made it all the way through the whole form, right? Because that same section at the first, could you play the ending of the first B? 1, 2, 3, and... See? They sound very similar to each other, right? Okay, I'll tell you a funny story. I had a guy at a jam session once come and do this tune, and he couldn't remember the lyric. In other words, please be true. He just kept, every time he got to that part of the tune, in other words, darling, kiss me. In other words, da-da-da. In other words, darling, kiss me. In other words, he couldn't find the release. It was purgatory. It just kept going and going. Finally, about 15 minutes later, I was at the back of the room. I said, please be true, so that he could get out. You certainly didn't do that. But when you are scatting, you got to kind of keep track of things like that. Well, and be aware of what could be tricky, and that is the fact that this B sounds remarkably like that B. So you might actually have to kind of spend a little time thinking about remembering when you're scatting. Okay, this is the first. When you get to it, it's the first time on this B. Okay, all right. Now this is the second time on this B. So that when you're finished, don't come back with "Fill My Heart with Song," because if you're going to scat the whole form, guess what? You get the whole form again. Unless you want to, you know, chimp the form and break form, and basically sing the whole tune, scat the whole tune, and double back to the second half. But that's a little odd. And you sing it so good, so let's do it. So can we do this, Miles? Can we take it from the scat solo, scat the whole form, and then sing the whole form one more time? Okay? Let's take it. 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah.
scat solo today. He didn't use a whole bunch of different syllables. I didn't hear any more than maybe 2 or 3 different letters in the alphabet, but he made up really beautiful melodies. And that's the point. With scat singing, you don't use every letter in the alphabet. You made up some really pretty and nice melodies. Makes me ask, are you an instrumentalist as well? I play the drums. Okay, so the last time I had somebody do the kind of singing that you're doing, he was a drummer. So that's a surprise. That makes a big difference. So you've got musical ideas that are not only based on what you do with this instrument, but you understand how the rest of your body participates in the music. Great job. Thank you.